Welcome to the Curious Room, and welcome to the debate.
Thank you. It's a really heavy space to enter tonight.
It really is. I want you to imagine walking into a quiet hospital in 1957. You are just looking for help with some mild anxiety.
Right. Just looking for a safe place.
Exactly. You sit down, trusting the doctor across from you, but you are completely unaware that you have just become a test subject in a covert mind control war.
Oh, wow. It's chilling.
Today, we are opening a door that was kept tightly shut for a long, long time. We are talking about Project MKUltra.
Yes. A very real, very dark piece of history.
And just so we are all on the same page from the start, MKUltra was a top-secret government project starting in the early 1950s.
Early 50s, yeah.
The goal was to figure out mind control, basically, by secretly giving drugs like LSD to people who had absolutely no idea what was happening to them.
People who just, trusted their doctors.
Right. And I look at this history, and my perspective is that the true psychological dread lies in the physical betrayal of our safe spaces, how ordinary doctors just dismantled human consent.
See, I come at it from a slightly different way.
Okay, how so?
Yes, the physical betrayal in that room is terrible. But for me, the ultimate horror is not just the physical experimentation.
What is it then?
It is the systematic erasure of reality. It is the permanent psychological gaslighting that happened later in 1973 when the records were destroyed.
Ah, the cover-up.
Exactly. Leaving victims completely unable to prove that their nightmares were real. To me, that is the deeper horror.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective right from the jump.
Sure, go ahead.
When we look back at those closed doors, the universities, the quiet hospitals, the prisons, we see something that shakes the foundation of how we live.
It really does.
We are talking about ordinary doctors, regular scientists, people who just surrendered their basic human ethics under the banner of national security.
They really believed they were doing the right thing for the country.
But for me, the chilling dread is that a hospital is where you go when you are broken. A doctor is someone you trust with your bare life.
Right, it is the ultimate safe space.
Exactly, and the horror is that these protectors treated vulnerable, breathing human beings like glass test tubes. They took the safest rooms in society and turned them into traps.
That is a compelling argument, but have you considered what happens after the door is unlocked?
What do you mean? After the patient leaves?
Yeah. You are focusing heavily on the physical act, the betrayal of the body. But I want to talk about the mind being conquered from within.
Okay.
See, pain is something we can process. Even a deep betrayal, if we can point at it and say, this happened to me, we can eventually survive it.
Because you have a record of it. It's real.
Exactly. But the nightmare of MKUltra is that the government went in, broke the mind, and then swept away the broken pieces so nobody could even see them.
Wow. So they couldn't even prove they were hurt?
Right. The victims were told, you are imagining this. It is all in your head.
Meaning, think about it, they were trapped twice. First in the room and then in their own memories.
That is a great way to put it. Trapped twice.
But to really understand how they got trapped in that room in the first place, we have to look at the how and the why.
The psychology of the doctors.
Yes. How did the intelligence agencies even get these regular doctors to go along with this? Why do we surrender our choices so easily to people in white coats?
To answer that, we have to travel back in time. We cannot look at this through the lens of today.
No, it was a totally different era.
Today, if a doctor gives you a strange pill, you pull out your smartphone. You search the name of the drug.
You find a support group online in 5 seconds.
Exactly. You have a safety net of shared reality. But let us go back to the 1950s, the middle of the 1900s.
A completely closed world.
Tightly closed. There is no fast internet. There is no easy connectivity. Society is heavily run by wartime propaganda systems and media chokeholds. Right. You only knew what they wanted you to know.
And in that world, authority figures, especially doctors and government officials, were like gods walking on earth. If a doctor told you to swallow something, you just did.
You wouldn't even think to question it.
Not at all. To explain the psychology of it, it is like being a child living in a massive factory town.
How do you mean? A factory town?
Well, in a factory town, the factory owner provides the jobs, builds the schools, pays the doctors. They make every single rule.
You are just a tiny part of the machine.
Yes, you do not question the roaring machine because it feeds you. You just trust, or rather, you hope, that the machine will not crush you.
Wow. That is bleak.
In the 1950s, the medical system and the government were that factory, and the doctors themselves, they were terrified of the Cold War.
They thought the other side had mind control. Exactly. The fear of an external enemy drove them to cross the line. They thought they were fighting a hidden war for survival.
I am not convinced by that line of reasoning, though. Framing them as just terrified, passive cogs ignores the active, daily malice required to do what they did.
Malice is a strong word, but, okay.
Let me take you into one of those rooms to show you the mechanism of this betrayal. Just imagine a quiet hospital room in 1957.
All right, I am picturing it.
The sunlight is coming through the blinds, a place built for healing. A patient walks in, struggling with mild anxiety. They go to the clinic seeking a safe place.
And they sit in the chair?
They trust the person across from them, and instead of help, they are secretly dosed with heavy, mind-altering synthetic drugs.
Capped completely in the dark.
For weeks, every single day, their mind is slipping further away, and they have absolutely no idea why.
They think it is their own fault.
Exactly. The doctor is sitting there behind a mirror taking notes, while the patient thinks they are losing their mind. And honestly, it brings up this deeply vulnerable question I think about at night.
Yeah?
I want the listener to just stop and think about this for a second. Think about lying awake in your bed. You check the locks on your doors. You feel safe because the bad things are outside.
Right. You have locked them out.
But how completely shattering is it when the danger comes from the exact person holding the key? The core trauma of MKUltra to me is that boundary being broken.
The healer becoming the harm.
Yes, it is the moment a healer decides that your body does not belong to you anymore. They dismantled human consent.
I am sorry, but I just do not buy that the physical room is the ultimate horror. Let me tell you why.
Really? Why not?
Physical pain, even drug-induced trauma, has a biological limit. A drug eventually leaves the bloodstream. The body tries to heal.
But the psychological damage remains.
Yes, but the only reason the psychological damage lasted forever is because they structurally planned for the erasure of the evidence, which brings us to the second scenario.
The cover-up?
The murder of the truth. Picture a dark, heavy basement in the year 1973. It is cold, the air smells like dust and machine oil.
Okay, I am there.
A CIA officer is standing there in the dim light, just watching. And in front of this officer is a massive, loud, industrial paper shredder.
And they are destroying the files.
Decades of medical records, box after box, patient names, exact drug dosages, the secret notes of what happened in those quiet hospital rooms, all turning into meaningless strips of paper.
Just erased, as if they never existed.
Erased. And this shredding of the truth, this is the ultimate betrayal. Because the evidence is gone forever, the victims were left in a state of permanent psychological gaslighting.
That is a terrifying thought.
To understand the mechanism of this gaslighting, think about it like this. It is like someone secretly altering the prescription in your glasses a little bit every single day.
Ugh, wow, that is deeply unsettling.
Right? And when you go to the eye doctor complaining of terrible headaches, that exact same doctor looks you dead in the eye and calmly says, "Your vision is fine. It is all in your head."
Weaponizing their medical authority against your sanity.
Exactly. I want the listener to really feel this. Think about a time in your daily life when you know you are right, but someone looks at you and convinces you that you are overthinking.
Your chest gets tight, your mind spins, you start to doubt your own memory.
It is a terrible feeling. Now multiply that feeling by the massive, untouchable power of the government.
That is an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently, because the shredding of the paper, the hiding of the evidence in 1973, that is secondary.
Secondary? How so?
That is the aftermath. You are treating the cover-up like it is the main event, but it is just the shadow of the monster.
But the cover-up was what trapped them.
The actual monster is the initial violation of human agency. When they put those synthetic drugs in the water in 1957, They were already saying, your reality does not matter.
I see what you mean. The erasure began in the body.
Yes, the paper shredder was just the final insult to an already broken consent.
I come at it from a different way. You are looking at the shredder as just the getaway car after a bank robbery.
Basically, yeah.
But the eraser of reality was the actual weapon that kept the victims bleeding for decades. When the mind is left with no anchor, no proof of its own suffering, the torture never actually stops.
It loops forever.
Imagine knowing that monsters broke into your mind, but every doctor, every official tells you, no, you were just crazy. They did not just hide the crime. They trapped the victims inside a prison of their own self-doubt.
It makes you feel completely untethered from reality. And honestly, it forces us to look at how we process our own memories.
When we do not have the evidence, we turn the blame inward.
Because they believed the room was safe and then spent the next 30 years wondering if they were just broken from the start.
Exactly. Because they did not know there was a poison in the water. They just thought they had failed at being normal.
See, the thing is, we are really talking about the same shared human dread here, just looking at it from different angles.
We are.
It is that profound, quiet realization that the very institutions built to protect our freedom were secretly trying to conquer the human mind from within. Think about the nostalgia we have for our childhood rooms.
That feeling of complete safety when our parents locked the door at night.
Yes, we carry that deep desire for safety into adulthood. We want to believe that the big structures of society are our parents, locking the door to keep the bad things out.
And the chilling truth of MKUltra is finding out the parents are the ones standing in the dark, testing things on you while you sleep.
Exactly.
The overarching tragedy, no matter how you look at it, is human beings being treated as mere biological test tubes, stripping away the one thing that makes us human, our ability to say no, our consent.
Our right to say, this is my mind and you cannot enter it. When we look at this history, the betrayal of this safe space is what breaks my heart.
It shows how fragile our safety really is.
It really does. It is a reminder of how quickly the people who hold the keys can decide that the rules no longer apply to them.
And for me, it will always be the terror of that erased reality. The sheer weight of being told you're suffering is a delusion, while the men who caused it feed your files into a machine to save their own careers.
It is a level of psychological horror that is hard to even fully hold in the mind.
But that complexity is exactly why we have to talk about it. We have to look at it from all these sides to understand how systems of power operate when the lights are turned off.
We do, because history is never just one simple line. It is a complex web of human actions, fears, and profound betrayals.
Truly.
And as we sit here tonight, wrapping up this thought, I want to leave you, the listener, with a question to carry into the quiet of your own room.
Take a moment to really think about this.
When you lock your door tonight, when you sit in a waiting room tomorrow, or when you scroll through the news, who are you trusting with your safety? And more importantly, who are you trusting with your mind? There is always so much more to explore about human nature, especially in the dark corners of history where the evidence is limited and the truth was shredded by design.
Thanks for listening to The Curious Room.